Keep in mind, this is in 3 states that are very Republican states. The officials were sold, Mississippi governor was sold on it based on the return on investment. I was a Republican mayor for all of those years, and I figured the citizens were my stockholders, and the council was my board of directors. But I owed both of them a return on investment for their money that we spent. It wasn't the city's money, it was the taxpayers' money. Whether they gave it willingly or not, it was their money. And so especially they owed a return on investment. And the entity that helped us develop the model was the Trent Lott Institute of Economic Development. That is not a liberal think tank. And they came back with an assessment that to the state of Mississippi, with a 5% increase in tourism, which this will clearly bring, and keep in mind the 4 cities you're linking across Mississippi, there are huge casinos there. Now, they just crank out money. It was $240 million a year to the state and $70 million a year to just one of the counties. And you're looking at a one-time investment of between 14 and 20 million, and you get a 240 million return each year, thereabouts, if you really manage it right. Who won't take that kind of return on investment? Yet we make that argument when we build an interchange on the highway. Oh, look at economic development that's going to come with that interchange. A train stopping at a station in your downtown is an interchange. And for this service along the Gulf, you've got one of the largest tourism destinations in this country, New Orleans on one end. You've got Mobile on the other. You've got cruise terminals on either end. And you've got all these casinos in Mississippi. When it was prematurely speculated that the service could actually start for the Super Bowl, I had one casino in Mississippi call me and say, I'm upset. I went on the Amtrak website with the intention of buying every ticket on every train. Because if you've got a casino with a spa in Mississippi, stay at my casino. I'll put you on a train with a free ticket to get to the Super Bowl and bring you back.
That's great.
You can go to the game, you can be drunk as a lord, but all you have to do is get on that train and you're taken safely back where now you'd be driving across the Gulf, which no one wants anyone driving impaired anywhere, but especially through that kind of traffic. And it's a cultural train we're selling. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people in this country, certainly across the globe, that are a little curious about the South and a little curious about Mississippi. Let us immerse you in our culture and our foods, and this train will do it. And I'm hearing that from trains in the Northwest, in the Southwest, far into the Northeast. Maine has done a terrific job in selling the culture with its connection along the Downeaster. And in your more rural areas, that train can be your way to education, your way to healthcare, your way to your families. And to merely say, people in rural America don't need a train, they've got a car. Well, you just made the choice for them. You didn't give them a choice. You made it and said, you're either going to drive or you're sunk. And when you look at states like Montana, and I've spent a lot of time in Montana, in the winter, there are plenty of times you don't want to negotiate those highways in the winter. I mean, it's dangerous. And the towns of population size are in the southern part of Montana. The universities are there. And the university students, if you go ask them, will tell you the only reason I have a car on campus is so I can get home during breaks. I would never have a car here. I don't need it. Missoula has a great transit system, has great bike lanes, is very walkable, but they got to have a way to get home. And they had that at one time with passenger rail across southern Montana. So when you look at a map of this country, with the freight rail that connected all parts of this country, urban and rural alike, when Amtrak was formed. And look at it today, you'll be stunned at the loss of not only passenger, but freight rail infrastructure as well. So this can be an issue that brings us together as a people. In spite of what else we may disagree about, passenger rail can be a way that connects small economies, large economies. You know, you talk about rural America, rural America is centered around small little urban centers. Meridian's a small urban center. Whitefish, Montana's a small urban center, but they're still a little urban place. And because you got to have a place to get to for your health care and for the community college and your job. That's what rural places are asking for. Give me choices. Don't make my choice.
Well, it does feel like for most towns west of the Mississippi, it was the railroads that were their genesis and it was their lifeline. And so when they lost service, either freight or passenger or both, or it became difficult to get service, businesses boarded up the windows and the places became, a lot of places became quite depressed. We look at maps of chronic rural depopulation and one can start to connect the dots on the loss of rail and a sense of being left behind. And it feels to me like it's pretty important that we listen when people express a sense of grievance and a concern about being left behind.
People want to acknowledge being heard. And I was a single parent for a long time of my two little children. And if I didn't stop and listen and validate that I was listening to them, then they'd find a way to stop me to listen. And I think, we never outgrow that. We want to feel that our lives and our work matters and the place we call home matters. And that aspiration knows no party. We all want to feel that our part of the world matters to the whole. And sometimes as we look at policy, we don't listen like we should. And maybe this is an opportunity to listen and to learn and to say, we've really got similar issues. We can work together on these.
Yeah. I was thinking that I don't want to throw in the towel for America. I want us to keep trying to be that great country that we want to be. And I have faith that people want to connect with each other, that people want to build something better. They want to be utilized for the genius that they have, and they want to solve problems. And so I'm hoping that instead of digging our trenches and becoming more isolated, we can work extra hard at connecting with each other and having conversations across our differences. And rail does feel like a very important opportunity to do that.